Quarterfinal pick'ems, let's go! Welcome back, everyone. Holy moly, that was a crazy Swiss stage. So watch all of my most important thing videos. Those are kind of summaries of the days, but also analyzing the most important plays and kind of showing you things that you might not have seen the first time around in a little bit more detail. If you haven't seen all of the Swiss stage yet, spoilers, this video will reveal who made it into the knockout stage. So here we are after the Swiss stage, 100 points, so higher than top 20, but not quite top 5, looks like maybe top 10%. We really did great here, but got in trouble having faith in BLG. All the people who put Gen G to go undefeated basically got ahead of us, but that's okay. We'll catch up in quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. So as we look at quarterfinals, a couple of premises. Much like the Swiss stage, you don't want to be betting on anything you think will be an upset. Even if you think there might be one upset, you're very unlikely to pick the right upset. To help us make these picks, I've done two things. So the first is up here in the top left-hand corner. I've been keeping track of how many wins and losses each team has. I'm usually pretty skeptical about using data to make predictions because data can be extremely misleading. I could make a whole series of videos about this. But if you have to use data, win rate is one of the best data points you can use because it encapsulates so many hidden variables. Looking at the past 3 worlds, if you always pick the team who had the higher win rate in the tournament up to that point, you would have picked the right team in the knockout stage like 70 to 80% of the time. So win rate is a decent heuristic to use. I've also been keeping track of a rough power level for all of the teams in the tournament throughout all the games and taking an average. So Weibo, I think, has an average power level of 7.95, T1 8.25, Gen G 8.5. Those numbers are encapsulated in this tier list here, which shows the same data in a graphical viewpoint. So for something like LNG and Weibo, we can see that LNG is both higher in my tier list and has a much better record. LNG 4 wins and no losses. Weibo losing almost half of their games. Weibo is a very scary team, very inconsistent, but their highs look really good. Their series today against D plus Kia looked really strong, but they're still losing a ton of games. They look very inconsistent. And if anyone can really handle kind of the chaos that is Weibo, you would expect LNG to be able to LPL regular. They're used to fighting this Weibo roster. They're less likely to be shaken up by Weibo's tricks than maybe an LCK team. Weibo leans very heavily on Breathe, and even he's been a little bit inconsistent. LNG doesn't look like they're suffering at all from all of the pre-tournament drama. Scout's been looking incredible. The team hasn't lost a game yet. Weibo is kind of in that T1, G2 category where they always have the potential to make these huge upsets. We've seen that in previous worlds. So anything could happen here, but I have to bet on LNG. Between Hanwha Life and BLG, I'm betting on Hanwha Life. This one is very painful for me because I put a lot of faith in BLG in my crystal ball, for example. But I have to use the data that's in front of me, which is that BLG has been super underperforming this team. I think they're the 7th best out of these top 8 teams based on this tournament's performance. None of these numbers use previous games before this tournament. Is there the possibility that BLG could come in a week from now and be as strong as they were during the summer season and beat Hanwha Life? Absolutely. But if they play at any level similar to what they've shown this Worlds tournament, they're quite a bit weaker than Hanwha Life. BLG has been leaning on Bin so heavily, but even Bin, sometimes makes mistakes. He's only human. You need more than Bin to win a tournament. HLE also has an equal win-loss record, 5-3 to BLG, so no red flags there. Locking in HLE. This one might be my most controversial between top and T1. There are so many T1 lovers, so fill my comments with the hate. And T1 can absolutely win this. T1 known for having really good clutch factor, leveling up their game. But if we go off how each of these teams has looked in the tournament so far, I think Top Esports has looked a little bit better. Top Esport had 1 loss against Gen G, and even in that loss, they looked quite strong. In the head-to-head between Top Esports and T1, Top Esports took that game. T1 took a really commanding lead in the early game, getting 3k gold up, but it was a lane swap that TES handled really poorly. There's good reason to think that that was a fluke and that they wouldn't be able to play that same trick on Top Esports again. Top Esports ended up clawing that game back through better team fighting anyway. T1, on the other hand, I think they were very shaky in that loss versus Top Esports, and I also think they were a little bit shaky in 1 or 2 of their wins against G2. For some reason, it's just hard for my brain to accept like, well, yeah, but T1 will suddenly play better in quarterfinals because that's what they always do. It definitely could happen, and maybe this will be my undoing, but my brain just sees normal distributions of performances and top esports having a higher mean than T1, and so them having a higher probability of winning a best of 5 than T1. I'm a huge top esports fan, rooting for them a lot. And then to the least controversial, Gen G, clearly better than FlyQuest, better win-loss record. What I think is the #1 team versus the #8 team. It would be hugely surprising if FlyQuest found a way to win this. There's weakness in pretty much every FlyQuest lane. They've shown weakness in pretty much every game. I don't think there's too much to say on this one. Only the magic of friendship has a chance of saving FlyQuest now. They also a little bit deserve it for having such an easy bracket through the Swiss stage, so please subscribe to the channel if you like the content. Those subscriber numbers mean a lot to YouTube, and I would be eternally grateful for that. If you haven't seen my analysis videos for the first 8 days of Swiss, watch them. They're really good. Also check out my other content, like my deep dive videos, where I go into why a specific champ is really good in pro play or really bad in pro play. I think you'll enjoy those as well. It's going to be an amazing quarterfinals, I think. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.